अरे चलो, both our scooters are charged. Let's go. We have to ride, यार.
चलो, let's go.
अरे ये कौन सा जैकेट है? Where's your client? Don't be such a wuss. किधर है उनका client? किधर है?
Fine.
Hello and welcome to PowerDrift. This is the story that you guys have been waiting for a very long time, and honestly it's burning a hole in our DMs. But lucky for us, we found a member of the PD army who was kind enough to lend us his new Ola S1 Pro. So here we are in Mumbai with our long-term Ather 450X, and we are here to figure out which is the better electric scooter in the city.
Let's get the basics out of the way. It's pretty easy to buy an Ather today. You go to an Ather center in your city, a test ride is easy to get, pay the money, you get one of these. That is a lot more convoluted because there's a website, and honestly I don't fully understand the process, but if you stick with the process, eventually, like this gentleman here, thank you, you will get yourself an S1 Pro. Now the differences between the two, they're pretty easy to appreciate because that looks more expensive. It's got 85 kilometers of range, 135 real world, 80 kilometers an hour max, 115, and in most places, depending on where you live, it's between 4 to 15,000 rupees more expensive to buy the Ather. The other thing to consider is fast chargers, which you might use to top up your scooter on the way home when you're running low. Ather already has 10 in Mumbai running. Ola, the website won't even let you type the name of the locality in yet. So that network is still in the future.
First up, we've got a performance test. What we are going to do is take both these scooters and ride it in their base mode across the city. So eco for the 450X, normal for the S1 Pro, and at the end of it, we'll see and keep an eye on the range as well as the charge.
What we're also looking for is how the two scooters manage the heat, because our experience of testing EVs says good EVs can manage a hot motor or a battery without affecting the user, and other EVs can't. So it's a hot, bright summer day. I'm already sweating. The question is, will one of these two break into a sweat or not?
Even though the Ola doesn't have an eco mode yet, the larger battery and the more powerful motor ensure that the Ather is eclipsed on both counts. By itself, the surety with which the Ather offers its real-world range and top speed numbers is very satisfying. But the Ola has more in the bank for sure. The Ola Speedo is optimistic though. 77 kmph for example was just 59.1 on the V-Box, and 115 on the Speedo is actually 100 kilometers per hour. Neither feels heavy and are easy to ride, but taller riders will prefer the Ola's taller handlebar. Refinement levels also fall in favor of the Ola, but they both make audible noises in certain speed ranges.
The big difference then is in heat management. The 450X has a fan and the Ola relies on ambient airflow. The Ola also uses a plastic battery and the Ather has an aluminium one, and aluminium is better at radiating heat by quite the margin. So ridden hard, especially in higher modes, the Ola is the scooter that will eventually bump you down to normal mode while it deals with the heat. This is nearly impossible to do with the Ather, which will run hard in warp mode until the battery is critically low time after time. The Ather does manage torque flow once it's hot, but it's imperceptible and in that sense feels more finished and more trustworthy. That said, the Ola in hyper mode is a beast.
All told, both are fun scooters to ride both peacefully or hard in the city. Range anxiety will not really be a factor in either once you get used to it as well. The Ola should have won this part of the test easily, but the throttle is slightly glitchy, heat-related issues do crop up, and that makes the Ather the safer purchase, and it is our winner. Once Ola's software is glitch-free and is able to manage battery and motor heat better though, it will be hard to match or beat.
I know you've got twice the battery that I do, but shall we go find a fast charger now?
Fast charger? Ola? It'll take months for it to happen.
Okay, I know where mine is. Let's go.
Chalo.
You see? Fast charger. just around the corner. So this network has already started to work. The Ola network will also come, but the whole point is that when you need a top up, you don't have to travel a long distance. Somewhere around the corner there's a charger you plug into and quickly get 10-15 kilometers out of it. So that's working. Let's go get coffee.
Let's be clear, you are unlikely to need or use a fast charger on a regular basis, but they do add a measure of mental satisfaction to new owners who can rapidly add 10 or 15 kilometers to the range when needed. The Ola has more powerful chargers for home and for fast charging, but the network for the latter is going to take time, something that all new brands will have to deal with, and Ather has had the time advantage here for sure.
Both scooters use their map bases to locate chargers and navigate to them. Today, both fast chargers are free, but eventually you will pay to use them. For the record, Ather adds 1.5 kilometers per minute to 80%, while Ola claims to add 50% charge or 75 kilometers in 18 minutes, both from an extremely low state of charge, obviously. For the moment then, the Ather wins this one. Though given time, Ola's network and speed should allow them to win this battle eventually.
Varun, for the next test, let's find out what Wally can take on as storage and what XP can do to counter that.
It's actually a good idea. You know, last time we did a scooter story, we used tennis balls as props.
Balls.
Today, we have something interesting.
We decided to leave the portable chargers in while testing this because at least initially, most owners will not leave their chargers at home. Then we filled up the undersea cavities with 100 tubes of Burnol. The cuboid packaging makes it easy to see which one is easier to use. Both scooters swallowed all the tubes, but the Ola space is just hard to match. We would have needed much more Burnol to fully fill the space. It is huge! The Ather just about managed in comparison, losing points for its shaped space that's less useful than a properly rectangular cavity.
The floorboard story is reversed. The Ola spine as well as inclined floorboard is not practical at all. Both scooters will hang things off the hook easily but try to carry something on the floorboard, and the Ather is just miles easier. On the Ola, you'll have to use your legs to brace actively, and paint scratches are guaranteed if you do. But put together, there's no doubt that the Ola's underseat storage here is the winner. On the handling front, these are both extremely fun scooters. They're sporty in feel, agile in traffic, and very nice to punt through corners. In hilly terrain though, the Ather allows you to brake and accelerate simultaneously, which makes slow U-turns, uphill hairpins far more natural than the Ola. Pick either and you will be happy. If you live in a hilly area, I would not recommend you buy an Ola until you've test-ridden one and confirmed that the brake throttle issue won't bother you. And know the thin tires don't get in your way on the 450X unless you're too up and cornering hard.
The difference is more pronounced on the ride quality front. The Ather is no pushover, but over bad roads the suspension can be tuned better and made less jarring for sure. The Ola's ride quality is more comfortable of the two almost all throughout. However, neither is a benchmark. The TVS Centaur, for example, does a stellar job of ride quality, and neither of these two can match it.
Alright, time to sum it up. And there are quite a few things that I'm actually impressed with. One, performance. Second, the range. I mean, there's no range anxiety as such on the Ather as well, but knowing that you have about 40 more or 45 more kilometers on the Ola definitely helps. In that sense, I think the hardware part of the S1 Pro is pretty much sorted. There's still some work.
More than that, I think the Ola S1 Pro should have been wiping the floor with the 450X.
like clean.
It does everything better than the Ather in theory,
Yeah.
right? It's in practice that the Ola starts to run into trouble.
Yep, it does.
Most of it is related to software.
Yep.
And unfortunately for EVs, software is 60-70% of the game, right? The way I think about it is this. The S1 Pro is definitely better value for money than the 450X.
Yeah.
But for once, it's not even close to being the best scooter in the country today. Every time we've ridden an Ather, we've ridden what? Athers for 2 years, 2.5, 3 years
Almost,
now.
yeah.
When was the last time you came to a halt on the side of the road because the Ather said overheated?
Never.
It has never happened.
When we are coming back, shoot got over, on our way back, N-Torque, Shumi was on the Ather, I was on the Ola, and you were in the warp mode, I was in the hyper mode, and we were going through traffic and we were going fast.
It was a 10-kilometer ride.
A little more, yeah.
And we had, I think you had about 35 or 40 kilometers of range left on yours. I had, I think, 32 kilometers of range left or something on the Ather.
Correct.
And we thought, you know what, we have to go 10 kilometers. We might as well have a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
So I was in warp, he was in hyper. And what, 5 kilometers later, and the Ather was going faster through traffic because he's generally a little bit more cautious in traffic. In that situation, about 5 kilometers later, we pull up to a traffic light and I can hear the Ola saying,
you cannot switch modes because it's overheated, and it just refused to go back to hyper until about when we stopped, and 5 minutes later everything cooled down.
So my point is actually very simple. My point is, if you're buying an electric scooter today, the reason to buy it is the stuff that the Ather does.
Yep.
It runs really well through the city and you don't run into any issues in terms of overheating and software glitches. Zero. Ather versus N-Torque, I think they're very similar apart from the fact that the N-Torque is simpler to refuel than the Ather. That's it. That's the only difference left. When it comes to the Ola should outperform the N-Torque easily.
Yeah.
It should outperform the Ather easily. But none of this actually works today. The reason why we buy manufacturers' products is because we think that they've done all the work required so that I can purchase it, bring it home and start my life with that vehicle.
Yeah, and enjoy it. Yeah.
And enjoy it. Unfortunately, I don't believe that the Ola is ready for that situation yet. This is what the conclusion was from my first ride review.
It continues to be the same.
It's glitchy, it needs to be fixed, then it will be ready.
Yeah.
And today, based on what PD Army fans have told us about their Olas,
And what do we expect?
our experience from this test, the Ola needs time to settle. So to me, the potential best scooter in the country today, electric, is the S1 Pro. Make no mistake about it.
Yeah.
More under-seat storage. Apart from the floorboard, practicality-wise, bigger seat, everything it's got.
Yeah.
It's faster, it has bigger range, it has a better battery, it is able to handle faster charging. But all of those things are contingent on it working today.
Yeah.
You should wait for them to fix it. Until then, I don't think there is any doubt. What is the best electric scooter you can buy in the country today?
Without a doubt, it is going to be the Ather 450X. Just the way everything is built up, zero issues. You don't hear a lot of negative things on social media, so on and so forth. So in that sense, the Ather 450X might not be the most impressive on paper, but as a package, the scooter is complete, and that's what you need and that's what you expect from a manufacturer. And the Ather checks that box really well. We're going to leave the comment section open. Which one do you think is a better buy? Obviously looking at everything that we have said and what you guys have experienced. Let us know in the comment section below, and yeah, we'll respond to as many comments as we can. Thank you so much for watching this comparo of the Ola S1 Pro against the Ather 450X. We will see you very, very soon. Roll to karo.
जब मैं पैदा हुआ था ना तभी एक्शन बोल दिया था लोगों ने.
One, action. All right, to sum it up, we have both ridden the Ela.
The Ela and the Ather.